I broke an Appalachian rule I was told as a kid. If you grow up around here, you learn certain rules. Don't whistle at night. Don't answer something that calls your name from the woods. And if you hear someone you love outside your window after dark, don't look. My grandmother used to say that last one like it wasn't superstition, like it was a seatbelt. You look, she'd say, and it knows you can see it. I always thought she meant coyotes, or bears. I don't anymore. It was 1:47 a.m. when I heard my mom's voice outside my bedroom window. Soft. Calm.
Hey, baby.
My stomach dropped immediately. My mom lives 40 minutes away. I checked my phone. No missed calls, no texts. Then it came again. Closer to the glass this time.
Open the window.
Same voice, same tone. But something about it felt flattened. Like someone doing an impression. I stayed still. Didn't answer. That's another rule. Then it said something only she would know. A nickname she hasn't used since I was 10.
Come on, just look at me.
I told myself it was stress, lack of sleep, auditory hallucination, anything but what my grandmother meant. The voice shifted slightly.
Why won't you look at me?
Still soft. Still patient. That made it worse. Then it said,
You always used to look for monsters under the bed.
a pause.
There aren't any under there.
Something scraped lightly against the siding, right beneath my window, and I broke the rule. I looked. She was standing at the edge of the yard, just past the tree line, wearing my mom's face, but wrong. Too tall, shoulders too narrow, arms hanging just a little too long. Her head tilted slightly, like it wasn't used to sitting on that neck. The face was almost perfect. Almost. The smile stretched too far back. Her eyes weren't focused on me. They were fixed on the reflection in the glass, watching herself, adjusting. When her eyes finally met, her expression changed instantly. Not confused, not angry, delighted. Her mouth opened wider than it should have, and she started laughing. High, sharp, wrong, and said,
I got you!
in a shrill voice. Then she stepped backward, not turning, not blinking, just sliding into the trees, still smiling. I don't remember grabbing my phone. I just remember calling my mom. She picked up on the second ring.
Hello?
She sounded half asleep. Normal. Mom? My voice was shaking. I think I just had a nightmare. Silence. Not the kind where someone's thinking. The kind where someone was listening. Mom? A soft breath crackled through the speaker. Then very quietly.
I'm inside.
The whisper wasn't tired. It wasn't confused. It sounded close. Right next to me. And then it laughed. Not loud, not sharp. A thin, careful laugh. Like it was trying not to wake someone up. The call ended. The house was completely silent. No footsteps, no doors opening. No breathing. Nothing. That's what scares me the most. Because my grandmother didn't just say, don't look. She said, looking is the same as opening the door. And I looked. I spend a lot of time hiking. There's one rule you should always follow in the woods. Never answer someone that you can't see. I started hiking after the accident. Before that, life always felt like something I was preparing for. Work for the weekend, save for the future, wait for the moment when things would finally matter. But when a 2-ton vehicle slides across a yellow line toward you, you learn something fast. The future isn't guaranteed. So I started hiking. Not the casual kind where you walk a paved trail and take pictures. I mean the kind where the path fades and you actually have to pay attention. Roots under your boots, wind through the trees, smell of damp oil. Out there, being present stops being philosophical. It becomes survival. That morning, the trail was quiet. Late fall. Cold enough that every step made the leaves crunch like brittle paper. I was about 2 miles in when I noticed the marks. At first I thought they were deer dragging through the leaves, but when I got closer, the pattern didn't make sense. They weren't hoof prints. It looked like something had been dragged across the forest floor, long channels through the leaves and dirt, like heavy ropes had been pulled through the woods. Except the spacing was wrong. 3 parallel drags, then a gap, then 3 again. I followed them without really thinking about it. They led to a tree. About chest height on the trunk were gouges, deep ones, long vertical slashes running almost 2 feet down the bark. The wood underneath was fresh and pale. I spent enough time in the woods to know the usual explanations. Bears claw trees sometimes, and deer rub their antlers when they shed velvet. This wasn't that. The marks were too straight, too evenly spaced, and they were higher than I would expect for most animals around here. I stood there for a minute staring at them. The woods had gone quiet. Not peaceful quiet. The other kind. The kind where you suddenly notice there are no birds. That's when I heard something. A voice. Soft, almost like someone calling from far away.
Hey.
I froze. There's one rule everyone who spends time in the woods learns eventually. Don't answer voices you can't see. People get lost that way. Sometimes it's animals mimicking sounds, sometimes it's just your brain messing with echoes. Either way, responding is how you end up deeper in the woods than you meant to be. So I didn't answer. I just turned around and started walking back the way I came. At least, I thought I did. A few minutes later, I heard the voice again. Closer this time.
Hey. Over here.
I stopped. The strange part wasn't the voice. The strange part was the direction it came from. Behind me. Which should have meant I was moving away from it. But the sound was getting louder. I kept walking. My brain kept telling me the same thing. You're heading back. You're going the right way. But another part of me started noticing things. Trees I didn't recognize. A fallen log I definitely hadn't stepped over earlier. Then the voice again. Right behind me now.
Hey.
Loud enough that I felt it in my chest. That's when something clicked. My mind kept insisting I was walking back the way I came. But my body had been slowly turning. Step by step. Without me realizing it. I wasn't walking away from the sound. I was walking toward it. I turned around. Nothing. Just trees. But about 20 yards ahead of me, carved into another trunk, were the same marks. Long gouges. 3 lines. Deep enough that pieces of bark were scattered at the base like wood shavings. And the drag marks. They started right below it. Leading deeper into the woods. Behind me the voice whispered again.
Hey.
I don't remember deciding to run. I just remember suddenly being on the trail, moving as fast as I could. Branches slapping my arms, leaves exploding under my boots. The voice followed for a while. Not yelling, just calling. Always just behind me.
Hey.
I didn't stop running until I saw the road through the trees. Gray asphalt cutting through the forest like a lifeline. I stumbled out onto the gravel shoulder and bent over, hands on my knees, lungs burning. For a few seconds I just stared at the empty road. I had made it. The woods behind me were quiet again. Normal quiet. Wind in the branches, distant crows. Then something moved behind me. I spun around. A man stepped out from between the trees about 15 yards down the shoulder. I hadn't heard him approach. No footsteps, no leaves crunching, nothing. He looked normal enough. Hiking jacket, small day pack. But he stopped when he saw me, like my reaction surprised him. "Hey," he said. "You okay?" I straightened up slowly. "Yeah," I said. "I think so." He walked a little closer, studying my face. "You look like you just saw a ghost." I glanced back towards the trailhead. The woods were still. "I heard something in there," I said. "A voice." The man nodded slowly, not surprised, not skeptical, just acknowledging it. Then he stepped a little closer and lowered his voice. "You should be careful out there." His eyes stayed locked on mine. "There are things in these woods you shouldn't respond to." Something about the way he said it made my stomach twist. Not like advice, more like a reminder, or a warning meant for someone who already knew better. "Did you hear it too?" I asked. but he didn't answer. Because when I looked up again, he was gone. No footsteps, no branches moving, just the empty road and the trees standing still like they had never opened for anyone at all. I stood there for a long time before getting in my car. Sometimes I still think about that day, and one thing keeps bothering me. If he came out of the woods, why didn't I ever hear him coming?